So, hi.
Hi,
To start off, would you like to say your name and where you are?
my name is Zdenka Goralikova, and I'm based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Okay. And the first big question that we ask is, who are you? Who are you as a person, as a human being? And you can talk about any part of
hmm
yourself that you want, like your passions or your values or your interests.
Yeah, so I think I'm a woman at the first, and I think who am I as a human being? I like diverse friends, which I have from different backgrounds, different parts of life, and I think that's what I treasure most, the good friends that I have. So I think that's important. And I also am inspired because with some of the friends we giving back to community.
Mhm.
So it's also sharing something that we have in common and doing it together. It's inspiring and supporting and learning from one another as well. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what would you say is a value that you sort of organize yourself around?
I think the value is mutual respect and grow. I think those would be quite fundamental values for me.
Mhm.
And the other one would be, uh, as part of the grow is also the learning, because it's just such a open book in a way to write the new stories every day, pretty much.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anything else you'd like to add about yourself? Any particular qualities or?
I, I think one of my qualities that I really like to keep good friends.
Mhm.
And sometimes the friendship might be just for a certain part of life, and that's what is needed, and that kind of goes with. And I have the kind of core friends that I'm keeping around, and usually those we have a lot of values or experiences together.
Mhm.
So that's kind of nice to have them around. Yeah,
Hmm. So, do
yeah,
you mean that you're like one of those people who is still in touch with friends from
yeah,
your childhood, or
yes, yeah,
yeah?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
it doesn't matter which continent we are in, it's kind of we always keep up. And also I have friends, let's say we don't talk for quite a long time and we kind of reconnect where it was left at. So that's in a way nice to have. It's not easy, like, because each of us has very busy lives, and especially those friends who have kids and families, that's much harder. But I think that I would say it's one of my strongest value. Yeah.
Okay. So, another question is about a little bit of your history. Does a particular event in your life or a set of circumstances come to mind as something that has really influenced who you are?
Yeah, there were, like, I think several influences, like growing up in socialism was a one experience itself. Uh, Finishing university in a very early capitalism was another interesting stage. Moving to Canada was another kind of experience. And returning back to home country and coming back to Canada after about a year and a half was another experience. So there were a lot of layers of different kind of cultural experiences, both on way to Canada to settle in, as well as coming back to Europe in a way.
Hmm.
And that definitely shapes me. Also, my brother passing away would be another significant event
Oh,
that
I'm
shape
sorry.
whole family. And
Hmm.
also, like, working for like global company kind of open you eyes, like what's possible in the very early stage, and what works, what doesn't work for you too. So
Hmm.
it's a lot of learning and kind of evolving, even in like a super speedy fast way that you can't
Hmm.
keep up. So
Yeah, and that was actually like a really fast answer with a whole bunch of very
yeah.
big things.
And
So I'm wondering, do you want to Do you want to say a bit more about how some of those things affected
Yeah,
you?
and I would add as well, like the Gestalt was another kind of, studying Gestalt in Canada was another kind of turning point, because I still remember till today our teacher, Joanne Graham, coming to our class, say, just look around and remember who you see today, because in 5 years it will be a different view. And that was an interesting kind of way to introduce us to Gestalt itself. So I think a lot of kind of turning points or moving things. Studying psychotherapy was not my primary education. I studied finance and business administration. So, and that kind of evolves pretty much since my high school. So I was surrounded by various numbers and analysis and paralysis and everything possible. And then I joined
I'm just imagining studying finances in late socialism, early capitalism.
Yeah, it's adventurous. So
that's a perspective.
Yeah. So I joined like a big multinational company at the time, opening their offices in the Czech Republic. There I was born. So I pretty much stayed in total with presence in Canada, because I was working for them in Canada as well, more than 16 years. So it's a big part of my life. And thanks to that, in a way, I met a lot of people all around the world. So that, in a way, was amazing what is possible in terms of communication, connection with people from different continents that you would never, ever be able to meet. And I was, in a way, privileged to be able to do that work. And it was hard work, not tell me wrong, but it was same time rewarding in terms of what the relationship you can take away from there. And I took a lot really good ones. So that's what kind of stays with me too. Yeah.
So you were in finance, but in a relational way.
In a relational way, yeah. As my best friend, she's saying, you should always work in HR. I don't know what are you doing in finance, because in a way people would tell me a lot of things that I never asked for, right? So it's just the kind of trusted secret keeper or something like that would be part of the journey. And it was interesting. It's definitely was part of life. And I've never expected that studying, let's say, high school under kind of turbulent, like a Berlin Wall kind of falling apart, and like figuring out what the next steps will be. So it was kind of everything kind of work its way. And then I kind of show up in Canada one day just to try it out, like how is it to work in an English speaking country, and just do my best. So that's where I landed, and in the end returned and stayed. So yeah.
So how was that transition for you? What have you learned about yourself?
Yeah, I think at the beginning it was quite difficult, because well, first of all, I was learning British English, so Canadian English was a little bit different, more like Americanized in some way. So and my natural way of speaking was much faster in my native language. So kind of catch up the speed of speaking and thinking and be able to express yourself, I think was a quite challenge initially. So, but I had a great support. I had great colleagues, like, who were patient, I think, enough with me to kind of navigate through my inner frustrations in some way. And we had a lot of fun just kind of working through quite a busy 2 years. And then I think the other part was reconciling the cultural differences, because that was something I think still, even now when I work with clients, I totally relate to some of, because making friends in Canada is not as easy as people might think. Even that's kind of like complete kind of opposite what is kind of portrayed, like that Canadians are friendly, kindly. But in terms of the kind of personal friendship, I think it takes a lot of time to really develop that. So, but again, it's the kind of patience and being there for the other that can change the dynamic too. Yeah.
Okay. So in all of these different places that you've been in your different parts of your life, does a particular person stand out as a big influence on you or someone who really changed your life?
I would say so. I think my best friend Blanca would be one of them. She actually inspired me studying Gestalt. So that's one interesting story. Like that, she did the program back in Europe, and at the time I actually met her working in the same company. So that was something we discussed and kind of talk about, and it was interesting to see the practicality of it in the life. So that was kind of inspiring for me. And when I moved to Canada, when I saw the posting from the program, I said, okay, let me give it a try. No another finance study or any MBA. Let's go to experience the life. So
Nice.
yeah.
Okay. So she's inspired that turn.
She inspired the curiosity, what it is about, what is the Gestalt really, what that kind of teaching is about, like what I can learn for myself, because my goal was not become a therapist at the first. It was really for me to understand myself better, but also increase my vocabulary in English, not only knowing debits and credits in some way, but also be able to speak about emotions and kind of be able to express what really I feel rather than what other may be judging that it's there or not. So that was interesting way. And then I met like interesting teachers, like, you know, some of them as well, like Jay and Tony, Carolina, Chris, and a couple others and Joanne as well, just who really shaped the class I was in. Yeah.
Okay. So when I asked who you were, the first thing that you said was, I'm a woman. So
Yeah.
I am curious how you experience yourself as a woman. What does that mean to you?
To me, it means to find love, pleasure, creativity, to connect with yourself, and also be able to connect with other women, because that, I think our gift is, as a women, we can do much more together. And that's also part why I this year joined another women-led group that trying to change the world. It's called SheEO, and that started in Canada, and it's in US, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. And it's pretty much function as a perpetual fund when you can invest as an activator, nominal, but still, let's say 1,000 Canadian dollars to support women ventures. And women ventures that working on the World Organization's agenda, either in human rights, in environment, in different, like, let's say, personal development, whatever that is. And that is inspiring, because also the way how women network and can help each other by supporting each other in navigating through challenging times like COVID. I think that's inspiring enough to be. So I think that's, part of me as a woman in a way. Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. So you've talked a little bit about how you came to Gestalt. Is there any particular, I mean, you even said when Joanne told you about that group, do you have any other first impressions or anything else you'd like to say about that first encounter?
Yeah, I think for me it was still kind of quite a large group of, I think we were like 25 people. So it just really kind of getting to know and feel kind of safe to speak up was kind of still progress for me at the time. But I think I fell in love with Gestalt more like the year 3, when really the kind of self-leadership and leadership and the groups were taught. And that was something that, okay, that's something I want to kind of be in learning, and because there was also still kind of something I can apply in my day-to-day world at the time, because I was still working for the consulting company at the time, so it was quite a busy life for me, and like remembering back. And then I think starting shifted to exploring what it means to be a therapist, and to feel it. That I think it was another journey for me too. It didn't came like, okay, I finished the studies and now I'm a therapist. That was not kind of the way. For me, it was really working with the clients and seeing the impact. Yeah. So it was also seeing the, like when client tells you, thank you, help me. I think that was kind of something that shifted what I'm doing in my life.
Therapist.
Yeah.
Are you there? Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it that changed in you that you're like, oh, now I think I am a therapist?
Well, I think for me it was I can be there for people when they need it, and I can navigate, like be the guide in a way through the challenge or through the time when they might be trying to figuring out what's going on. And also for me, the other part was realizing what I was doing during the day versus in the evening, seeing my clients, seeing the difference of the impact and what my work and creativity can do versus not to do. What changed me was me feeling good about myself and feeling grounded in terms that I can do this job. I can be there for the others in the capacity that they need me. Yeah. And it was also, I use the kind of comparison to the corporate world. I'm not just the creator of another Excel spreadsheet, that I'm actually helping clients change their life. And I think that was for me the biggest shift. Yeah.
Okay. So what is it that you found in Gestalt?
I think it's like a golden nugget of creativity, of what you can discover in working with clients that you would never either have names or expressions or way through, but you kind of somehow find it together with the client. So I think that's what is beautiful about it. And I'm finding it more and more because I did some other programs and teachings, but I'm still kind of going back because there is some level of freedom or independence that it's your way to be with the client. It's not a prescribed way that things kind of somehow has to be versus are allowed to be in the space between you and the client.
And so when you talk about that personal way, what is your practice like? Like, what do you do with Gestalt? What kind of groups do you work with? Do you work in different languages? Because I remember that you speak about 5 languages.
Yeah, I work in English solely right now. And I started this year working with one foundation that works with youth who are looking for career opportunities. So they work with certain areas of Greater Toronto area. So I've been expanding the collaboration with them over summer and even now. And I'm part of their program that they build up for people around the age 20, 25, just to really help them making steps, landing either first or several kind of jobs to really support them financially. And it's about learning them that they have the power to change their life. So they pretty much give me the opportunity to shape the teaching about the mental health to the young population in my hands. So I've been really grateful and humble about the kind of free space I got. So and sharing with people that they can change their beliefs, that they can change the story they are telling themselves, to be empowered and to take responsibility for their life. Doesn't matter how difficult situation might be for them, that it's still worth it to put the message out there, because some of them may never heard it in their life. So that's in a way very inspiring work. It's not easy always, but sometimes it's if even one of the students would took what I'm trying to put across and even start to thinking about it, that's, I think, a blessing. And if there are more of them who even sharing that they've never worked with therapists, who would kind of be so kind of creative rather than just very prescriptive in a way, I think is the other way of getting feedback that the work makes sense. Yeah.
And so have you had that opportunity to say, wow, this worked? Has there been like a success story?
Yeah, there've been success stories. So I've worked with clients who been working through different issues. Some of them already are back in their life and living their life on their own. Some I'm still seeing in my private practice, the present therapy. And it's a journey. It's not like a one overnight, as I'm saying usually. Obviously, there are a lot of new techniques that are evolving around the world, like in terms of the kind of single therapy session, but there are different techniques for that. So, and I've been working with clients who were dealing with burnout, with different issues around anxiety, depression. So that's part of kind of process as well, transforming what's coming up in their life. Yeah.
So what would you say that you've found as challenges in either this process of becoming and being a therapist or in your own life in some other way?
I think the challenge is I like to keep my life busy and diverse. So I like to work on other projects. So I need to manage how time the day has. So sometimes, and I think you know that well as well. Like given where we met as part of organizing the conference in Toronto back in 2018. So that was definitely experience for me to work with such a wide committee and in totally different settings that maybe I was used to before. So that was a great learning part. And also, I think working with clients is just to finding kind of what works for them, because in the end it's not about me, it's about them, right? So it's really when you see kind of that like look that they feel relieved or happy, I think that's the view that you will keep going forward.
It's a challenge to find, and then it's very rewarding when it happens.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like you don't know exactly if you will find it, and there is no guarantee because it's part of the kind of commitment to do the work and try the best. But same time, when it happens, that's, I think, is the moment of it makes sense. It's worth it.
Do you remember one of those moments in particular?
Yeah, I do. It's been I think one of my client, I think it was a moment she came and she kind of shined, and it was something shifted during the week. And when she shared like what happened, I think that was it worked. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just noticing how fast this conversation is going, and my experience of you is that you're incredibly like efficient, and it's like one thing, another thing, another thing. But
Yeah.
I want to know about something that you have really enjoyed, like something that has just been a peak experience of your life.
What I enjoyed, I enjoyed traveling, and that's what I'm missing right now as well.
Oh.
And that's maybe not professional related, because that's why I think I recharge, but sometimes I learn, because traveling to different countries, especially those who are not on the top hot list,
Mhm.
it's opening out the horizons and way of thinking. So, and being able to accept people from different part of worlds and their experiences. And I think that same time helped me in my practice, because I have very diverse clients. And
Mhm.
I think that's also given by Toronto being very diverse city too, right?
Mhm.
So that's in a way opening my horizons how to work with clients. But that traveling brings me a lot of joy and
Mhm.
a lot of fun too. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So back to Gestalt for just a second. Do you feel like you're part of a Gestalt community? Like, does that phrase mean anything to you?
For me, yes, because I joined the board of Gestalt Institute in Toronto.
Hmm.
So I'm in that governing role, supporting the team of faculty and students to really keep us going and keep us growing, and also navigating the landscape that's been laid out in Canada in terms of regulatory or other compliance responsibilities that sometimes go a little bit beyond kind of the realm of tolerance sometimes, I would say. But I think the faculty is amazing, and they've been really doing amazing job, especially now in what I've been witnessing from very remote. I think they pull out everything possible in a very super fast turnaround, and teaching classes online and keep going with students and be flexible and organize outdoor, at least kind of residentials, whatever was possible to allow the experience to students, I think was beyond possible in whatever we've been dealing with. So yeah.
Hmm.
So I think it would be interesting to as well watch what the regulation or kind of the watchdogs will do going forward in terms of really allowing the education to be the education rather administration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So you feel like you're part of an institutional community. Is there another sense of a wider community in Gestalt for you, or not really?
It is, but it's just more really as a kind of peer groups that support each other in really referring clients, helping each other if there are any issues, questions, peer supervisions, which were during COVID, but unfortunately I was busy with some other projects that did not allow me really to join the group. So that's
Mhm.
something I and one of my fellow Gestalt we are creating for ourselves. So that's something in the progress to recreate something that we are deeply missing. That's the kind of peer get together and sharing what's working, what doesn't work, and be very open about it. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So I guess the last real question is sort of what's next for you? Like what other projects or where do you see yourself going? And also where do you think Gestalt is going to go?
I think maybe I will start with the Gestalt and I will get back to me to the end. I think Gestalt, I think at least in Canada, is still growing. And I think we will need more people to help us teach and support us with all international teachers, which been amazing, not only for students, but also for us who practice, because just learning even from Margarita, Ruella, Michael Clemens, and others, I think it's still definitely worth it and inspiring. And always you take the nuggets, or Miriam Taylor or some other amazing teachers. Just to sharing their wisdom and experiences is always a blessing and great opportunity to tap into what maybe I've been working at the practice and needed some maybe word or something just to get inspired to what the next step will be. And obviously it will be interesting journey with everything kind of going digital and all other challenges that will be undergoing. So what the real contact will be, whether the online or in person. I personally miss that in-person contact with clients. So that may be something I'm craving to balance out. But on the other hand, I like the comfort that you can conduct sessions from your home and don't have to travel too much. But on the other hand, having that in-person contact gives you much more depth and expedite the process. Yeah. And in terms of me, I have some other projects that I'm working on and right now trying to carve some time for them to work on a continuum educational project in the continuing education for therapists. So that's something I'm looking at, how to make it easier or better organized. So maybe that's something I can't say more right now because it's very, very kind of early baby steps, but I've been blessed to have a chance to talk to several therapists in Toronto about it and just getting first kind of ideas, validation process. So we'll see what comes up from that, but that's still early days to speak more about it.
So it's kind of like a trailer, a teaser.
Yeah, it's a teaser. It's really in the baby steps, I would say.
I'm very curious to see where your mind will go with that.
Yeah.
I have no doubt it will be very interesting. So.
Yeah. So there will be that, and then I'm working on some other projects that are more something I wanted to do in terms of spirituality or what that means to me and what that means to how I can help others to maybe access it. So that's something else to work on. Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything else that you would say I'm missing? Anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think you're missing anything. It's just I like to kind of be open and like find maybe different way of collaborate on different projects because I found at least during COVID, I was really busy. So there was not much time to pay attention to COVID as such. So in that way, I was very lucky and happy to be able to work, to be able to create or add value to people's life. And also gain new partners, new collaborations that I maybe never thought of that I would be doing and kind of stay open to what comes. I think that's the greatest teaching from Gestalt to kind of stay with it. So yeah.
Nice. All right.